I loaded up this game and it gave me a warning that the game might not be safe for all networks, but I've had this before so I thought nothing of it. After load up, I had a look at what the game had to offer. The option it gave me was to play a random level, which seemed like a weird start since people usually have levels as options and don't just leave you to experience them through sheer luck. What drew me to this game in the first place was the fact it had mixed reviews. Quite often I test out games with positive reviews because that's what Steam likes to shove in my face, and that's mostly okay because sometimes, a few cases I can think of, I completely disagree with them. However, I thought it would be interesting to try one in a true middle ground. What reading the Steam page did for me was inform me that To the Core is procedurally generated. I thought there was only one map to begin with, which is technically true. However, the map can be different each time you play it, elements of it being the same, but in different positions along the route. The start is always the same since it's a tutorial, but after that it all changes. In a way, I think that's a good idea, since it gives some variety to the game if you decide to replay. On the other hand, the game has leaderboards, and I'm not exactly sure how fair it is to be speed ranked on a map that you could have as completely different to someone else's. When you die on a level, in the top left corner you get given a code for a seed. If you input that seed code into the custom section on the main page, it allows you to play the exact same map, but it times you on it. It's pretty good to be able to practice on same maps in case you ever get them again. You are Teenage Mutant Female Doomfist, also known as Emily, and the man yelling your name at you is apparently your father, according to the Steam page, but not the game, because that's definitely not important. But I get a sense that the story in itself isn't really important because the game tells you clearly enough your goal is to beat up robots and get through the level as fast as possible. Easy? Nope. The game feels to me like I'm sprinting across a wooden beam whilst people are shooting arrows at me. Some of the robots are pretty easy to avoid, yeah, but there are some that are basically like ticking timers. You have to go past them and instantly they blow up in an area attack. That attack has both knockback and damage. It's like jumping off a rock straight onto a landmine. You can take 6 hits in a full run of the level and there are no checkpoints. Getting hit by an attack like that can be a game ender, especially if it hits you off your platform straight into a widespread environmental hazard. You can get health, but it's usually hidden in back corners of side lanes and there are sometimes enemies there as well, so you might lose your life as fast as you get it trying to go back through them and also waste time. I like the mechanics of the game, the dash, the mega fist and such, and it's a good setup for a platformer. The graphics are nice, kind of Borderlands-y in style, and the robots are really well designed. I just question the choice to make the levels so long with no checkpoints, and to slap so many enemies in front of vital points, and give you no chance to pick up progress from partway through the level. Personally, I lose interest fast in a situation like that, because you just die over and over, and fighting doesn't even seem to have that much effect against more than about 2 enemies at a time. Having to restart a level back from the beginning every time you get shafted gets pretty tedious. I will, however, compliment the fact that the creators included a target beneath your character showing where they'll land on a jump. A lot of the time in platformers in third person there's no indication of where you are in relation to your intended landing point, but that's very helpful, thanks. The game has a bad problem of being unable to support its own weight. Normally by that, I mean lagging. In this case, I mean crashing. The game just straight up dips out on you sometimes, which again, does not do it any favours. In fact, if Bandicam didn't have a corrupted video fixer built in, I wouldn't even have any video to show you of this game because all of my recordings have ended with a crash. The music's pretty good, atmosphere of the load up gives good suspense, and in the level it's fairly fitting as well. As said, it's a good looking game with quite a lot of good ideas, other than the random distortion to the ponytail you get on a roll, it's generally pretty good. It's the kind of game that you can get good at. Obviously a fair few people have got themselves on a leaderboard, so it's gotta be possible, but it's pretty damn hard, and that's unfortunately not all from the game. It's also because of the random crashing, and also a few people I've seen have complained about floaty controls making it hard to work some of the areas. That I do agree with to a degree. The controls are very floaty and sometimes it does make it a little hard to manoeuvre, but I don't think they're unworkable or enough to make the game unplayable. I'm not happy personally about the choice to not include checkpoints in a level. I know how hard I worked to get to certain areas, and to find I'd only made it 10% of the way through gave me a bit of a morale hit. However, for people who have time to dedicate to the game and learning all the possible rotations of the map, you'd probably quite enjoy it. The map randomizer is a pretty good idea to keep the maps different and prevent stagnation. In basic terms, it looks good and it's got potential, but it's got a crashing error and is slightly too optimistic about how many robots one girl can fist at once and how long levels should be in a game. All in all, I will give To the Core a 6.5 out of 10.